It's something we all feel at some point, isn't it? That moment when things just pile up and life feels, well, overwhelming, like you're stuck in this season of struggle. Maybe it's a setback, or maybe just this heavy feeling you can't shake. But then sometimes, maybe when you least expect it, something breaks through. A bit of light, unexpected joy that just cuts through everything and reminds you, okay, this difficult time won't last forever. Today, we're doing a deep dive into an ancient text that hits right at the heart of these experiences, Psalm 30. It's this really powerful song, traditionally linked to King David, and his life, well, it was definitely full of huge ups and downs.
Absolutely. And it's crucial to see this not just as some old poem. It's incredibly personal. A song of thanksgiving, really, reflecting on a journey from, well, utter despair right through to gratitude in that traditional context at the dedication of the house of David. That sets a powerful tone. Scholars might discuss if it's the palace or his dynasty, but many think it points to David's personal restoration, maybe after a huge failure like with Bathsheba or that awful time with Absalom's rebellion. Imagine the thankfulness then. It gives the whole psalm this raw, lived-in feeling.
Exactly. That's the power, isn't it? So our mission here is to really unpack Psalm 30. We want to pull out the key insights about resilience, about gratitude, and maybe just as important, how to stay grounded. And then crucially, how these timeless ideas can actually encourage our own obedience and strengthen our faith in God today. So, okay, let's unpack this. How does David actually take us on this journey? Well, he starts with this incredible burst of gratitude. You can almost feel the relief coming off the page. He says, I will extol thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up. And crucially, and has not made my foes to rejoice over me. He talks about crying out to God and being healed, not just physically, it sounds like, bringing his soul up from the grave like he was pulled back from the edge, kept alive when maybe hope was gone. It paints this really vivid picture of God stepping in as a rescuer, whether from sickness, enemies, or just deep despair.
Right. And what's fascinating from, the ancient perspective is that this deliverance isn't seen as just random chance.
Yeah.
It's understood as coming directly from that deep relationship with God. And it's not just a private thing for David either. It demands to be shared, acknowledged publicly. He immediately calls out, sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his. It's an invitation, like join in this Thanksgiving. It shows how personal rescue often has this ripple effect, drawing others in.
And then we get to that line, the one that just resonates so deeply even thousands of years later. For his anger endureth but a moment, in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Wow. It's more than just poetry, isn't it? It feels like a fundamental truth about suffering and hope.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's not just a nice thought, it's quite profound ancient wisdom. This idea that despair, no matter how intense it feels, is often seasonal. It's not permanent. That's key. When David talks about God's anger, it's seen more as a temporary consequence, maybe corrective. But his favor, that's the enduring thing. That's life. That's God's baseline intention. This perspective is absolutely vital for faith, for resilience. It reminds you that sorrow is real, yes, but God brings the mourning. It encourages you to hold on, knowing the joy isn't just wishful thinking. It's like a divine appointment.
But David doesn't just stay on the mountaintop. He gets incredibly honest, vulnerable even. He admits, and in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved. You can almost hear the confidence, maybe a touch of overconfidence.
Yeah, a little bit of complacency, maybe.
Right. He thought his success made him untouchable, but then, bam, reality hits. He says God established his mountain, but then thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled. Instantly, things changed. It's a humbling moment.
And this really raises an important question for us, doesn't it? What happens when things are going well? It's a critical warning, this ancient insight. Security, comfort, they're good things, often blessings, but they can make us complacent so easily. David, even as king, saw how fast that feeling of strength disappeared when God's presence felt distant. It hammers home that humility, that dependence on God matters way more than any outward success. It really highlights why we need to stay obedient, stay grounded, acknowledging God even when life feels smooth. Think about it, when things are good, how quickly do we start thinking we've got it all under control? It's a subtle shift.
Yeah, it really is. And it seems like that very moment of realization, that humility, is what opens the door for God's next move. David immediately turns back, cries out again. And the result, it's dramatic. He describes it so vividly. Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness. And why? To the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent. It's not just feeling better, it's a total transformation. Sackcloth to gladness, mourning to dancing.
Exactly. And the gratitude here, it's not just an internal feeling, it changes everything. And notice, it's not just spiritual or emotional for him, it becomes communal. His gratitude isn't quiet. He wants his glory, his whole being, his restored life to sing praise. You can't be silent. And this leads to that lifelong commitment. Oh, Lord my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever. It models this ongoing cycle. Deliverance sparks gratitude, which leads to continuous praise, deepening that connection. It becomes a way of life.
Okay, so let's pull this into our lives today. If we step back, what does all this mean for us right now? How can David's journey here actually strengthen our faith and, importantly, encourage our obedience?
Well, first, I think it shows us the incredible power of resilience through gratitude. Psalm 30 doesn't pretend pain isn't real. It faces it directly. But then it puts it in perspective. Sorrow doesn't win. It doesn't get the last word. Just like David experienced deliverance, the song suggests we can too. And that perspective helps us trust God even during the hard times, not just after. It builds faith in the struggle, learning to give thanks in it, not just for getting out of it. That's an active part of building resilience. It reframes the narrative.
That's powerful. And it also helps us recognize when you're coasting, right? I mean, in our modern lives, it's so easy when things are going well, job's good, family's good, to slip into that self-reliant mode. We
Yeah.
think, I've got this handled, just like David felt in his prosperity. But his experience, that jolt when God hit his face, is such a stark reminder. Life can change fast, unexpectedly. And this isn't about living in fear, but about wisdom, about proactive faith. Staying grounded spiritually, emotionally, morally, builds that foundation before the storm hits. It's a call to keep that humble dependence on God as a daily practice, not just an emergency measure. That fosters real obedience, real trust in every season.
And then there's something maybe we don't talk about enough.
Yeah.
The call to actually celebrate recovery and renewal. You know, when you have come through something tough, maybe illness, loss, burnout, a difficult relationship, this psalm gives clear permission. Rejoice, give thanks. Don't just rush on to the next thing. Mark the moment, celebrate it. Even small steps forward, small victories, they deserve gratitude. Acknowledging God's hand in bringing you through whatever the scale, it cements that experience in your heart. It strengthens faith. And it makes you more inclined to trust and obey next time because you remember his faithfulness.
And here's where it gets really practical, I think, for how we interact with others. David didn't keep his story quiet. He wanted his glory to sing praise. He told people what God did. So in our context, that looks like spreading hope to others. Maybe it's just encouraging someone going through something you've faced. Or maybe it's being a bit more open about your own journey, the ups and the downs, not just the highlight reel.
Right? Authenticity.
Yeah. That act of sharing, it reinforces our own faith, reminding us of God's track record, and it can be incredibly powerful in inspiring trust and maybe even obedience in others, showing them that faith isn't theoretical, it leads to real resilience and gratitude.
Absolutely. So when you tie it all together, these applications show how an active faith one lived out through gratitude and that ongoing humble reliance on God really does build deep resilience. And that resilience doesn't just make us stronger, it deepens our actual connection with God, fostering this spirit of obedience and thanksgiving that can carry us through anything.
What a journey Psalm 30 takes us on. From the absolute pits of despair right up to deliverance and dancing, it's such a needed reminder, isn't it, that sorrow is temporary and that gratitude and depending on God have this incredible transformative power.
It truly is timeless wisdom. It gives us a kind of blueprint for navigating the tough stuff, for building a faith that lasts whatever life throws at us.
So, maybe something to think about as we finish. Have you ever really paused to celebrate a personal victory or recovery? To intentionally acknowledge how God might have turned your own mourning into dancing?